You know Shaletta makes you laugh, but did you know Shaletta Brundage can also make you think and boost your business? Media personality, activist, and comedian Shaletta Brundage founded Shaletta Makes Me Laugh to celebrate and share the best of Black culture. It's a podcasting platform. You can download 10 weekly podcasts hosted by African American subject experts at ShalettaMakesMeLaugh.com or wherever you find your favorite podcasts. ShalettaMakesMeLaugh.com is also a production house, creating broadcast quality commercial content. And Shaletta and her team of storytellers create powerful promotional campaigns to get businesses the brand awareness they're looking for. Some of Minnesota's top businesses trust Shaletta, and you can too. Get out the word about your events and products and get in front of communities of color with ShalettaMakesMeLaugh.com. She's got the power to help your business.
Want your boss to put some real action behind the rhetoric when they talk about making your workplace more inclusive? Find out how to hold their feet to the fire and demand diversity on the Diversity Dude podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Diversity Dude podcast. I'm your host, Flambus Fisher, marriage and family therapist, award-winning author, and national speaker on the topic of multicultural awareness and diversity. Now, today, we have a special guest joining us. He's an internationally recognized artist whose work has become a part of history. He's a creator of the iconic portrait of George Floyd that has become a global symbol of justice, remembrance, and resistance. He will also be soon bringing his art to life yet again by creating a live mural during the 7th World Conference on Remedies to Racial and Ethnic Economic Inequality at the University of Minnesota. So, if you please, welcome Peyton Scott Russell.
Lambert, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. And yourself?
Yeah, I'm doing amazing. Thank you so much for having me on. It's highly appreciative, and I'm super grateful and blessed to have this opportunity. Thank you.
Excellent. Very much appreciated for you to be here and for you to share your work, your perspective, so more people can get to know about you and get to experience it the way you intended. Now, for those who are just meeting you for the first time, they may know your work, maybe not even know to associate you with it. Tell us a little bit of background about yourself and how you got to where you are today.
Well, I'm a lifelong creative, artist, teaching artist, community activist, father, but my life really centers around art and creation.
Nice. And have you been doing it all just professionally or just in various personal ways? Like, in what ways can people have seen your work?
So definitely professional. Again, since childhood, I've been making art. As most children have, found a way to, learn and create things. But for me, it was really a sanctuary for me to go to my room and unpack things that may have been happening at school or drama with my parents or drama on the playground. I'm a child of the '70s, very steeped in the Gen X generation. So art was a way for me to escape and kind of really discover myself and explore ideas and my personality and my identity. And so going through high school, I discovered hip hop. And that was what I think really made that transition from me being this general creative into getting into graffiti art, which really allowed me to explore my infrastructure, my neighborhood, explore my voice and how I can impact community and just impact, society. And then I moved on to Chicago, where I went to school and graduated from the Chicago Art Institute in fine art. And so I'm also an institutional guy. I grew up in museums and galleries, and then continued to make reference to the street, where I tried to pull in both entities so that they could see the importance of each other, how the institution is a valued area for art and reaching out to certain demographic of people, but also allowing the institution to understand the voice of the people and how important both worlds are. Yet, you've got street artists that kind of turn their nose up at the institution and the establishment for good reason. But there are strengths and power that are found in both worlds. So my life has always been trying to walk the center line and to bring both of these worlds together to see the value in each of them. And just as a professional, I've used my academic world to highlight the idea of graffiti art and how important that is, and just really building those together and reaching out to the world. And so people can see my art on the street. You can see my art in galleries, a couple museum shows I've had over the years, but just consistently trying to exist in both worlds. So it's, I try to be prolific in both areas.
Very nice, very nice. No, I appreciate the context, the background. You've clearly done a variety of things and tried to leave your mark in a variety of different places. I will have to say a couple things. You touched on some things near and dear to my heart. I'll skip past the fact that I'm a Chicago native, so you just warmed my heart and put a smile on my face on the inside and outside when you said that. So tear for the Chicago Institute, very nice. But also, even just acknowledging the difference between appreciating arts as a just a medium, a way to spend time as children do, just to express themselves. That's awesome. That's great. But then to go beyond that and say there's some things that you can express uniquely through art, feelings, perspectives, views, and you develop that over time. As a therapist, I am trying to encourage people to find different ways to express the things that they just can't put into words, but when they see it, it's like, yeah, I don't even have the words for what I'm seeing, but they captured it. He depicted something that does something and moves me in a certain way. And so you've been cultivating that in various ways. Sometimes in structured, institutional kind of ways, and other times just in the raw form that is graffiti art, and all the ways that can be expressed in different ways. But as a therapist, I also know there's a time to do and there's a time to teach. And I love people who can do both worlds. I've always hated the phrases like those who can do and those who can't teach. It's like, why do we have to pick one? Why can't we do both? And you found a way to say, if I can be in both worlds, how can I be an advocate on both sides? How can I help those who appreciate the raw graffiti art understand and appreciate the structural, institutional things you can learn and be exposed to? And how can I help them learn there's more than what you have to offer? There's more than one way. That is awesome. And I hope that that's something that can continue beyond that. So I appreciate you being an advocate for that, for all who have been able to do it.
Thank you.
So as it goes to more specifically to the one piece of art that people may know you for more specifically, as they now are going to be more aware of you and be looking out for you, your portrait of George Floyd has become more recognizable than you probably thought when you were actually doing it. But it's recognizable images in the world. What was going through your mind at that particular time, letting your creativity flow as you created that piece?
Yeah, that they say the stars aligned. The I'd have to say a perfect alignment. I hate that it had to take that to happen.
Indeed.
So first of all, of course, I'm born in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and my childhood was spent on that corner where he was murdered. That was my childhood corner from my earliest memories till about 12 years old. I grew up in a park that was 1 block away from that corner called Phelps Park, 38th in Chicago. My parents had a house on 40th and Park. And so all the neighborhood kids would meet at Cup Foods to play the video games that were recently surfacing, asteroids and Space Invaders and Dig Dug and things like that. So 7-Eleven used to be across the street. So we'd get our Slurpees and our candy, but it was really the central hub of where we would meet to then go off onto our adventures on our bikes. So that corner is central to my childhood. And Mr. Floyd, it looks very similar to my dad. There's a lot of similarities to him. Very dark-skinned black man, big, strong. That was my pops. And So when it first happened, I had a visceral reaction just because of my childhood, neighborhood, uh, the resemblance of my dad. And so before I found that the entire community was so affected, I had more personal connections to it. And so as I was, contemplating being called to action to do something about it, which I for sure was ready to lace up my boots and go out on the street and, you know, physically protest. I had a lot of mentors that told me to, hey, slow your roll. You got kids, you're a community activist, you've got, you're a mentor, so you need to be smarter about what you do. You're an artist, you're a street artist, you're a graffiti writer, so maybe do something along that lines. And and I'm like, of course, that would be a stronger voice. Let me figure this out. And in the midst of this, I get a call from a sculptor friend of mine who had always wanted to do something in a guerrilla situation where he wanted to build a sculpture and then put it in an open parking lot, unsanctioned, no permission. He always loved the fact that I was a street artist and graffiti artist, and he wanted to do something with sculpture. So when this happened, he gave me a call and he was like, "Hey, what are you doing? I think we should maybe do something." I'm pacing in my studio, just under this stress about what just happened, and he gives me a call. I'm like, "Oh my goodness, yes." Uh, what can we do? And I said, hey, let's build sort of like a billboard. I'll build this structure and you paint a message. And I was like, okay, great. He said, what do you need? And I measured the, the, the measurement of my loading dock in my studio, and it was about 13 foot square opening. So I said, hey, if you build me a structure about 12 feet, I think we can fit it in the studio. I can do something on that. He said, I'll be there in the morning.
Nice.
Okay, he showed up with all this plywood and 2x4s, and he actually built the structure for it. And this
Nice.
is Andrew McGuffey. I want to give him a big shot because he's the actual person who built the canvas where I painted the face.
Awesome.
So Andrew, thank you so much for giving me the call at the right time and supplying the materials. So during this time, I was running classes teaching kids how to create face stencils. I would take your photograph, high contrast it, and then create a face stencil. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to do something like that.
Cool.
And during this time, Mr. Floyd's selfie began to circulate, that
Mhm.
famous selfie that he put out. And I was like, that is it right there. So I grabbed that image and then I high contrasted it. And when I did that, it turned into this super high black and white
Wow.
image. And of course, originally I was going to make it into this photorealistic image. And but then I was like, you know what? No, no, that's it right there. Let me capture that. So as we got it in my studio actually wasn't big enough because I also am into projection. So I wanted to project the face and then trace it out so that I wouldn't have to go through the, the hours of redefining the face, the artistic format of doing that. Well, my studio wasn't big enough to pull the projector back far enough to get a
Nice.
12-foot image onto this canvas.
Yeah.
So I had to go into the old school grid lines where I had to snap a grid
Right.
onto the plywood and then draw the grid on the printed photograph. So it gave me a chance to go back to old school without technology and learn how to
Nice.
how to render this face. And that turned into another magical situation because it allowed a lot of interpretation of
Mhm.
how for me to create these lines, how to create the shadows and the contrast, which then further articulated the ghostliness of the image.
Yes.
Now, I got to tell you, when I was painting this, curfew had happened in our city.
Okay.
So we couldn't be out after, I think, 11 or 12. without having a permit, being a first responder type permits. So you couldn't be out. So I knew once I was in my studio, I had to spend the night in the studio and just create, which was absolutely fine. And I went forward and started making this piece. Now I wept a few times creating this mural.
Yeah.
Well, the morning came around and I was finished with it, and my studio mates entered in the morning. They were walking up and down the hall, and everyone just stopped in their tracks. Like, huh? Like, look at that. You made that? Like, yep. Now I got to figure out how to get it down there. I didn't think that through. Like, how am I going
Right.
to get this 12-foot canvas plywood across town? And then I didn't know where I was going to install it. I didn't even think about any of
Oh,
that.
wow.
And so another partner of mine called me up and said, "Hey, I've got a boom truck. I will help pull this out. We can load it up
Nice.
onto my truck and we'll transport it anywhere you want to take it." So again, like I said, I'm not a super religious person, but man, something was guiding this the whole way.
Indeed.
Uh,
Nice.
we loaded it up and we drove it down to the square, which at the time was not considered George Floyd Square.
Right.
A lot of riot cops were still out. There was people that were making offerings, and so the place was turning into a sanctuary, but it hadn't been developed like that yet. And the night before, like, we actually had gone down there to kind of investigate the spot, and the barricades were not up. You could
Oh,
just really walk in there. And so the next morning, the barricades were up, and it was more difficult to get in. So I get into the square, and I'm like, "Hey, who's in charge?
right.
I painted this last night. I would love to bring this in and install it somewhere." And of course, once they saw the photo off my phone, they started snapping fingers and clapping hands, like, "Yo, help this guy move those barriers out of the way. We're bringing this work in." And so
Nice.
at the time, there was a lot of people gathered around, and everybody that was at the square at the time chipped in. They came in and
Oh,
they carried
awesome.
the piece off the truck. And I've got
Beautiful.
all this on video and photographs. Now, this is the other crazy thing.
That's that.
So I didn't know where to put it.
Sure.
There was another mural that had gotten created before I did this one, which has a lot of controversy just because of the process of what the artist had done.
Okay.
And so there was a lot of pushback for that first mural, which is called the Blue Mural,
Okay.
which got also incredibly famous. But anyway, I knew the artist for that, and I was trying to protect them.
Okay.
And so I thought, hey, let's put the face next to that mural to kind of give it some credibility and validation. And then I
Nice.
thought, no, that's not a good idea. That's
Oh.
we call that side busting in the graffiti culture.
Oh, I
Don't want
see.
to take someone else's glory or representation by putting a tag next to another tag. So
Consider it.
um, I was sitting there trying to contemplate where to put this, and someone in the group that was helping say, "Hey, put it over there on the bus shelter," which was
Oh,
about 5 yards from where the incident happened. And
wow.
at the time, I didn't recognize the bus shelter because it disappeared with the background. The bus shelter was brown, the wall was brown, it was kind of dilapidated, not really kept up,
Sure.
but it was perfect. It was a perfect area. So we carried the piece across the street to install it there, and the bus shelter is 12 feet.
Love it.
Fit flush onto the
Beautiful.
shelter. Perfect. And the 2x4s we used to secure it onto the flatbed, we used those to further secure it, drill it into the bus shelter, and there it was. Now, originally, I wanted to install this in the middle of the night. It was anonymous
Right.
as an act of street art, and to let it pop up in the middle of the night like a mushroom as a way to say, "Look what you did."
Yeah.
This face as large as it was, put it right in the middle of everything and make it anonymous. And I figured, like, I honestly thought the piece would last maybe a day or two.
Oh,
The city would come and take it down. It's active
sure.
street art, it's graffiti.
Yeah,
Attaching it, wherever I was going to put it, it was going to disappear. But I wanted to make a statement in the moment.
indeed.
So, but it was too heavy. It was too big. I needed help, and so it was ended up being the middle of the day, middle of the afternoon, and of course everybody has their cell phones out, recording the whole thing, and it went viral. And
Love it.
that's when my name got a little bit of recognition, and yeah, that was a whole nother navigational piece I had to deal with after that.
Yeah,
But the piece did what it did and put me on a platform, and now I had this stance of a voice, like, okay, this piece is now the recognized piece of what had happened, and things progress from there. Now we're a
absolutely.
little sad because we painted it on not great materials. It was
Oh,
OSB plywood, stuff we
sure.
just had laying around.
Yeah,
So it's not really archival or preserved, which we
sure.
are actually in the moments of trying to preserve it. Uh,
Nice.
and then I would love for it to go to the Smithsonian,
That would
but
be
that's a whole nother conversation at the moment. Uh,
awesome.
you know, uh,
Yeah, that would
so
be awesome.
so that is sort of the basic, really the basic story of how that piece was created, how it got
Yeah.
put into place, and obviously we all know the effects of what happened after.
Yeah, no, and I love that combo because I appreciate the background. People when people see things uh, that have taken on a certain lore, you can appreciate it in the moment, but then when you also know what went behind it, what contributed to it being what it is, you can appreciate it even more. When it's like seeing a digital rendering, but then seeing the paint strokes. That's why people forget the opportunity to go to the museum and see the paint strokes, to see the sculptures, to see the thumbprints, that they're right at the bottom, and to see, no, a real person did this. Time was taken, intentional efforts were made in every single decision. And so to hear what not only was the picture, but the stencil, the profile, the palettes, the plywood, it's like that gives it more for people to appreciate when they see it. And so even following in that, when people do go to chance to see it, whether they just see it online because they're nowhere near the Twin Cities, or if they do happen to go by and see it in its original form, what are you hoping people will feel when they see it? What's the goal? I mean, as a therapist, I know you can't tell somebody how to feel. I'm not. There's not. It's not instruction, but what type of things, a variety of things, would you hope people take away if they just sit as if the street corner of George Floyd Square was a museum, and they just walked by it and saw that piece? What are you hoping people would think or feel when they took a moment to pause and look at it?
Yeah. So first of all, the original piece is now dismantled from the square.
Oh,
There
okay.
was a lot of controversy, you can imagine. Um, and I just said that we painted it on less than excellent materials. And
Yeah.
so we knew that that had to be cared for, which incredible shout out to the caretakers of George Floyd Square.
Nice.
They went above and beyond taking care of the piece. Every time it
Really
rained, tarps would come out. People
nice.
were 24/7 throughout the night protecting it from
Wow.
vandalism and anybody, the opposition coming to destroy it, which happened several times that was avoided.
Nice.
And the square just really took care of the piece, as well as all of the offerings there. But
Sure.
at one point, the city, Minneapolis, they came to assess the bus shelter, which we knew what that meant.
Yes.
So I got a call one day, said, "Hey, the city's coming down to make an evaluation of the bus shelter, which includes your painting.
Yeah.
So maybe we should think about that." So I ended up removing it.
Okay.
It's in my possession now, the original,
Okay.
and we took it down. And now we put a vinyl banner up of the print. So the image is still exists on the bus shelter. It's not the original.
Sure.
You can still get all of the the aesthetics from the original painting, which
Excellent.
I am holding out for the official memorial, the official
Ah,
George Floyd Square memorial, and that's where the piece needs to live. Even though I would like it to go to Smithsonian, I would like it to go there for alone for a time. And once things are figured out at the square, if there's an official home, I need to bring that back home and to have it exist here. So
awesome.
I'm holding out for that. Now, when people go to the square and they see the piece, first of all, there are hundreds of offerings. There are other artworks there. There are other stories. There's other narratives that are expressive from kindergarten youth to everybody in between, artists and non-artists that have
Nice.
expressed their feelings about
Yeah.
what have happened. And we as artists, whether you're an artist or not, you're offering, um, particularly as artists, we are the storytellers of society. We are the ones that make sense of traumatic events. We're the
Yeah.
ones that make sense of confusion. We tell the narrative of things that are beautiful, or to help you find beauty in things that you may not think that are beautiful. um, there is beauty in everything, even in chaos, and artists are the ones that help create calm, create understanding, create a sense of community, create a
Nice.
place where gatherings and feelings can be shared. uh, and that's exactly how George Floyd Square got created. Once my piece was in place,
Nice.
that helped solidify the square. More artwork showed up in
Beautiful.
big fashion. Other things started to come through, and the square became the square, and it was a sanctuary for people to go and relax off of something so
Ah,
traumatic. And as our city was smoldering and still in a state of civil unrest, the square was one of the safest places in the city at that time.
love it.
And so artists are the ones that create those spaces. And when you go there and you look at art or any my work, I try to leave room for people to have their own interpretation. I try not to literally spell out an event or exactly what happened, or try to get you into what I believe, what my intentions might be, or what I'm trying to get you to think. Of course, I'm expressing a moment or an opinion, or an idea, but I leave room for ambiguity, and I want you to have your own opinion. I want you to come up to your own conclusions about why I used the color I used, why there's an image there, what does that mean, what does it say, how are you feeling, and for you to invest your time and effort and your own personal experiences to how you are viewing a work, and what is your contribution, and what will you leave humanity after you've seen a piece of art that may have moved you or may have triggered you in some way. Uh,
Indeed.
and then what is that you're now going to go off, and what are you now going to contribute as a result of being in the presence of art?
Nice. Nice. No, I like the flexibility in it not necessarily being a title. Here's my art, and here's what you should feel when you see it. Now, nothing specific. You don't want to narrow it down, but there also is I hope you feel something. I hope as you process this nothing short of a tragedy. I know everybody's going to be in a different place, but I want it to be a safe place. I want this to be a place where you can process. You can be sitting next to somebody, standing next to somebody who are feeling different things, processing it in different ways. But you also know you're all doing something similar. You're trying to move forward, and as you so nicely said, trying to find a way to make it count. Find a way to move you to something. To what? Don't know. It's going to be different for everybody. As you noted, even just in how you express your art, you could protest in a certain way, you protest in a different way. Find your own way. But it starts with just saying, what do I feel? Let this inspire me. Let this move me into doing something. And then we'll see. Just as you so nicely noted, even just in the artistic realm, there isn't one way to express art. There's an abundance, and so that's great encouragement to go see what other people have done and how people were inspired to do the same.
Yeah, I mean, you're the diversity, dude. That is the beauty of our humanity is we're all different.
Yes,
We all have different opinions, and it's an opportunity for us to come together and to share those opinions and ideas and to come to
exactly.
some, hopefully, some common ground where we can see each
Right.
other. I mean, that is that is the beauty of being diverse.
I like
If
it.
you've got to be open to it though. You've got to be flexible, and you've got to be able to
Indeed.
hear and see and listen to other people, and then be able to respectfully and positively add in your own experiences.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I like it if we create more safe places to do so. I believe more people want that. They just don't know how, and they haven't been in environments that have truly welcomed it. But if we do, I think there's a lot of people who would embrace that. Speaking of environments, and I want to be, considerate of your time as well. You are also going to be doing something cool, being a part of a live mural creation at the Seventh World Conference on Remedies for Racial and Ethnic Economic Inequalities at my alma mater, University of Minnesota. So I'm very proud of that. What inspired you for what you plan on doing? You know what you plan on doing. Other people won't know until they see it in action. What's your inspiration for what is soon to be coming?
Yes. Oh, are you still there?
Yes, I can still see you. We
Oh,
can hear
okay.
you. We're
All
good.
right. Great. Froze for a second. Okay. A big shout out to Robin Robinson. If you guys are familiar with her, she was one of the, I believe, anchors of the Channel 9 News here in the Twin Cities in the 90s.
Indeed.
Uh,
Indeed.
very famous. I'm good friends with her.
Awesome.
She has been very instrumental in the arts. And she doesn't know, she don't, I think she lives in Albuquerque now, but
Cool.
she's always been really connected in the arts, and she's always stayed in contact with me. So she ended up being a part of this World Conference uh,
Ah,
event, and through the University of Minnesota and Dr. Myers. So really appreciative of those two individuals. But she reached out to me a couple years ago, where the conference was held in Cape Town, South Africa,
got it.
and invited me to be a part of that. And through just circumstances, I wasn't able to participate present. I wasn't able to go there, which, man, that was a hard one. I've never been to South Africa. I would really love to go, but circumstances didn't allow me to participate. But I participated online, and we did a discussion, and I met a few of the artists there, which are also famous artists in the graffiti community, the street art community. So
Okay.
we were able to connect that way. And then coming up to this year, 2 years later, it's now here in Minneapolis, of
Love it.
all places, which is really great. So once again, I was selected again as one of the featured artists for the conference.
Nice.
And um, I have recently acquired a studio gallery space. So now
Awesome.
I have a show space that I call Robert's Gallery, which is in North Minneapolis on Russell and Plymouth. It's 2400 Plymouth Avenue North. It's
Nice.
formerly Homewood Studios. If anybody out there recognizes that name, it's been established in the late 90s from George Roberts, who used to be my English teacher, English high school teacher at North High. And he is a super mentor of mine. He's followed my career ever since. Now he's retired and wanted to transition the building to someone who was completely about community, completely about the arts, and someone who is from and lives in a neighborhood. And I was the perfect candidate in his eyes. So I am now the new owner of this space, and I have renamed the space in his name and his honor as George Roberts, the Roberts Gallery.
Awesome.
So I was selected to be a part of the feature artist for the seventh World Art
Yes.
Conference, and I will be doing a live painting at Roy Wilkins Center in St. Paul. And then that work will then be transferred to my gallery as a pop-up show showcasing what I painted there, but also the work that I've created this year, which has been prompted and motivated and influenced by the ICE surge and the recent civil unrest that our city has gone through. And so, once again, as I explained before, I have no conclusions. I don't have a specific narrative. I am simply showcasing imagery and symbolic imagery of things. And you can come in and see the work and kind of come to your own conclusions. You can come to your own assessments, your own feelings, your own experiences. And that is what I'm creating. And the live painting will also reflect that. I will be, painting in the moment, of course. That's always interesting. I'm going to let it be free form, free flowing. But my intentions and my ideas are about the ice surge. And, you know, however, how this ends, where this goes, is yet to be determined. So the work that I'm creating just helps you think about where you are with it and what it may mean. Some of the main incidences that happened. Uh, where were you? How do you feel about it? Do you know someone who was
Right.
directly affected? All these things that are kind of coming to light as we are very much still are steeped in it. We are still in the middle of it, even though it's not acutely on our streets at the moment. It is all around us. It's in other cities. It's still here. It's just not so publicly broadcasted as
Exactly.
it was months ago. So that is what I'm contributing for this year, and that's what I'm showcasing for the live painting and then the pop up uh, exhibit at the Roberts Gallery.
Very nice. No, I appreciate you sharing about your gallery. It's great to know where people can see more of your work that may only know of the most prominent one in that way, but to see other ways in which you have used your art to inspire people, to provoke feelings, things like that. And at the World Conference, it's a great inclusion. So kudos to you and to the people who welcomed you there, because conferences like that can be great for sharing research, new perspectives, offering new solutions to world problems. That's the point, and hopefully it'll be very productive. But then great research is inspired by real people, real life experiences, and to combine those two and say, hey, while you're finding solutions, let me remind you of the feelings that can be motivating that, the significance, the meaning. They both work hand in hand. It's not a contradiction. Let's take a break from one thing to do the other. Like, no, that should be in your mind in some form of fashion. What it inspires you to do, that's up to you. Where it inspires you to go, that's up to you. But that makes it real. That helps people stay grounded in a way that hopefully will lead to better solutions, lead to more impactful solutions that aren't just policies and procedures in the clouds, but saying, what are the feelings that we need to address? What are the needs that we need to met? What are the unmet needs that are not being spoken of or not? And if something they can see something that inspires them to say, oh, I forgot about that. I forgot about that feeling. I didn't even think about that. Hopefully that'll have a larger impact than we can even imagine. So no, I'm glad that for the people who would be able to be there to see it, and those who can't, they can find their way to your gallery and experience it later. So no, I love the combination. I want to be considerate of your time because you are going to be preparing for multiple days of work. So I want to let you go. But before you do, is there one final thing, one final message that you would like to leave with anybody listening, anybody watching, that could send them on with your inspiration?
One final message, in the midst of all this recent chaos, is to find it within yourself to find beauty and love, even in the midst of chaos, because it's there. It's there. Uh, find it within yourself to create a vibration that is about beauty and love, and it's the duality of life. The yin yang of things, the black white, the night day, situation, and and to change your own perspective or vibration based on any traumas that you may be dealing with or going through, to focus on narratives that could bring about joy in your life, even if that is incredibly hard to find. I tell my kids, sometimes you just got to fake it, uh, fake being happy, uh, fake finding beauty and love, and all of a sudden it becomes true. You find it, and you start feeling that way, and it actually works. I met a Tai Chi instructor that told me that years ago. I'm a lifelong martial artist, and I've participated in many forms of martial arts. And my Tai Chi instructor used to say that all the time. Just fake it. If you run into someone who you don't like, a teacher that you think is a jerk, and there are, but you fake that you like them, and you create conversation, and you act like you enjoy being in their presence. And before you know it, you start discovering things that are
That
great
is.
about this person.
There it is.
And I actually practice that when I have a hard time with someone. I start to just fake that I like them, and all of a sudden things change. Now, of course, it doesn't happen 100% of the time, but the majority of the time, you'll make yourself feel better.
Indeed.
Even if your outside circumstances may not change and things are still incredibly volatile, you
Yes.
will internally feel better about yourself, and that is what matters. Find the happiness within, and it's about looking at the beauty of all things.
Excellent. Excellent. Find the happiness within, and you'll be able to share with others. That is awesome. I couldn't say it any better. I appreciate that. Just to sign off, for all who are listening or watching, if you're planning to be anywhere near the Twin Cities, please consider coming this Monday through Wednesday to check out the 7th World Conference on Remedies to Racial and Ethnic Economic Inequalities at the University of Minnesota, especially the awesome opportunity to see Peyton Scott Russell create a live mural masterpiece. Peyton, thank you so much again for joining us today. Very much appreciate that. And to everyone else who is listening, thank you all for tuning in. And as usual, have a great day. Bye-bye.
Tune in each week and find out how to demand and implement diversity at your job. To hear more, check out previous Diversity Dude shows on ShalettaMakesMeLaugh.com.
Welcome to Old National Bank.
I understand you're all about protection.
Well, we protect you in all kinds of ways, with advanced fraud monitoring and secure digital banking to protect you today, and with dedicated personal bankers to protect your tomorrow.
I'm impressed.
Protection for today and tomorrow.
Could I just...
Oh, go for it.
Old National Bank. Just another reason to get old.
Where'd you get this?
It came with my couch.
We talk a lot about meeting people where they're at, and that's always had meaning to me, but earlier this year, that really took a new shape. I really value the fact that we have a space where people can come in and to receive these services, but not all people feel safe anymore. Coming out, going places, and just re-looking at what does it truly mean to meet people where they're at, and how do we effectively do that, has been a really big part of what this year has looked like for us.
Sometimes we believe those lies, that we are no good, that maybe, this is all there is. And when I got sober, I realized, no, there's something more fighting for. And I'm out here every day fighting for it, for myself, for the women in my community, whom I love. But this Waymakers is a big part of that. So I'm just grateful. I'm so grateful. And I couldn't have done it without being sober, of course, and having the good support, because nobody can do it alone.
For folks who are wondering, what's on my ballot? Sure, I've heard of these high-profile things, but are there local things on my ballot? We've got a good website. It's mnvotes.gov, mnvotes.gov, and right there you'll see you can enter your address, and up will pop a sample ballot. So if you're wondering, hey, are we even voting on county commissioner or mayor or whatever it is? look no further, mnvotes.gov, type in your address, and up will pop a sample ballot. It'll show you every office and every candidate for that office. And if they gave us a website, we'll link you right to that website too.